Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. How are ya? It's a very hot day here in the southeast of England, and this monstrosity has been looking at me for quite some time. This is my book trolley, my reading trolley that I purchased from IKEA a good long time ago, probably about 8 years ago. I think it's about £35 at that point. I don't know how much they are now, but I do know they do them in different colours, which I would have got. And this is where I sort of keep books that I'm planning on reading, books that I've hauled, rubbish at the bottom, and it sits just tucked away literally here to this side of the sofa, and it's just got a bit out of hand where I've just been dumping stuff on it. So I thought today's video, very low energy and a nice thing to watch on a Sunday hopefully, would be me clearing out my reading trolley. So as I said, here are books, we're going to go through these sort of individually, but here are books that I've sort of popped up there because I'm either reading them. So I've got a couple of books here, Year of Wonder and A Poem for Every Summer Day, which I focus on during the Friday reading vlogs. And these are books that I've pulled from my shelves because I think I want to read them soon, or because I think they're going to be really good, and they're sort of like, this is sort of like my inspiration go-to before I start looking at my shelves. Then I've got this big chunk here, which is books that I am hauling, so books that I've bought, books that I've been sent from the publisher, gifts, and yeah, they all go in here until I haul them, at which point they either get added to here or added to my shelf. And this is also on a bed of notebooks and rubbish. And then this bottom one has got cross stitch, it's got art supplies, it's got more art supplies, notepads and stuff like that. So we're going to sort through this together, and we're going to start with the top shelf, and I'm going to whop myself up on here so I can get a good angle on it. This has needed doing for quite some time. I'm quite looking forward to it. So here we are in top shelf territory. Now, as I said, I've got a couple of things on here that I'm already using, so I'll just take these three end bits off. So these are A Poem for Every Summer Day, A Year of Wonder, and the Lit Chat questions, and these are books that I use every week when I film my Friday reading vlogs. If you haven't seen a Friday reading vlog, it's a video whereby I read on a Friday, we answer a bookish question, we listen to a piece of classical music, there's normally a bit of baking, and we finish the video on a poem. So these are used every week, so they can stay there, but more on that later. This is my reading journal. It's got, well, it's sort of reading and YouTube journal. The first tag is my reading log. So I log all the books that I read in each different month. They're colour coded by which month I read them in. This month I've read 3 books so far in August. I've read In Memoriam, The Examiner, and BFFs, The Radical Pretension of Female Friendship. So I make a note of all of that. The purple tab is reading plans. Sorry, video plans. The blue tab is notes for my videos. The yellow tab is films that I've watched this year and films that I'd like to watch this year. And then the green tab is notes for my Friday reading vlogs, because quite often during those Friday reading vlogs I have a lot to sort of link and everything. So this stays here because I know where it is. And then I've got 2 pencil cases. This pencil case was for work and this pencil case was for home, but they've basically got the same thing in, but we'll keep them there as well. Then let's have a look at these books. So as I said, these books are books that you might have seen me film in a video when I did a video earlier this year where I said, oh, hopefully these are 5-star reads. I know this one appeared on there, The Hungry Heart, and A Spell of Good Things, The Raven's Nest. But also, if I've read, so recently I read a TJ Klune book called Wolf Song, and although like the book itself I found a bit silly and daft, I really like the writing, and I knew I had a TJ Klune book on my shelf, so I've pulled it forward to here. And like I said, when I'm looking for what to read next, this is sort of where I'll look to first before I start looking at my shelves. So the decision, I guess, here is, do these books still deserve to be on this, or shall I put them back on there? Now, I'm going to do that first because then I've got piles of stuff behind that are just making this awkward. So let's have a look. So little lovely postcard from Jen there, which is very, very cute. Okay, so let's have a look. So The House Opposite by Barbara Noble This sort of is like cozy wartime reading. It sort of screams autumn at me. Elizabeth Simpson is a secretary having an affair with her married boss. Her father is an air raid warden and her terrified mother takes her courage from concealed bottles of rum. Owen Cathcart, their neurotic teenage neighbour, slips out during night raids to watch the fireworks and collect souvenirs of shrapnel. And Bob Craven, a soldier Elizabeth uses as a cover for her illicit romance, plans his taxi rides to see the most dramatic bomb damage. In this riveting drama of life during the Blitz, the extraordinary immediacy and vivid intimate details stem directly from the first-hand experiences of Barbara Noble, who lived and worked in London throughout the war. The result is a unique social document and an unforgettable reading experience. So yeah, I do want to keep this in here because I think this is going to be a really good read for autumn. So yeah, hang on to that. This one I'm very excited about. It's a non-fiction book called The Raven's Nest by Sarah Thomas, and it's an Icelandic journey through light and darkness. I read a book called, well, I've read it many times, called Names for the Sea, Strangers in Iceland by Sarah Moss, about Sarah relocating to Iceland. And this has been recommended to me and I ended up buying it. And it's about another Sarah moving to Iceland after she falls in love with an Icelandic man. And what turns into a, what originally is a week-long stay turns into a half-decade. So I am excited to read this and I want to read it soon. So it's staying. Next up, I've got A Spell of Good Things by Ayobami Adebayo. I listened to the audiobook of this, Stay With Me, which was a book that was longlisted for the Women's Prize, or shortlisted for the Women's Prize years ago. And I loved it, and that's what made me think that I would love this. But do I want to listen to the audiobook of it? I mean, I'm going to keep this in the shelf anyway, because I do think it will be great. Let me read you the blurb. Eniola is tall for his age, a boy who looks like a man. His father has lost his job, so Eniola spends his days running errands for the local tailor, collecting newspapers and begging, dreaming of a big future. Wuraola is a golden girl, the perfect child of a wealthy family. Now an exhausted young doctor in her first year of practice, she is beloved by Kunle, the volatile son of family friends. When a local politician takes an interest in Eniola and sudden violence shatters a family party, Wuraola and Eniola's lives become intertwined. In this breathtaking novel, Adebayo shines her lights on Nigeria, on the gaping divide between the haves and the have-nots, and the shared humanity that lives in between. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. It stays. I wonder if these, I mean, there's a reason these went on here to start with. It's because I thought they were going to be really good. Then I've got Hungry Heart, which is a non-fiction book, a story of food and love by Claire Finney. My cousin Laura bought this for me for my birthday. And this is non-fiction about food, which is catnip to me. I love it. And this is Claire sort of delving into food questions, from feast to comfort foods, first dates to office cake. How does what we eat define us and the relationships we have with each other? She tells a powerful story of life and love while uncovering the manifold ways in which food touches all relationships, from perfect strangers to lifelong partners. Beginning with a childhood spent in her grandmother's hotel kitchen and ending at her grandfather's bedside, Claire charts a course through the meals and recipes that have shaped the person she is today. Investigating the role food plays in an often isolated modern society and exploring how eating unites us in varied ways throughout our lives, Hungry Heart examines the power of food and drink to attract, bind and define us, as well as its ability to divide and repel. Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely bloody brilliant. And I love food fiction and non-fiction that's interspersed with recipes, and I can see that this is the first recipe that I've come across is recipe Grandma's Millionaire's Shortbread. And boy oh boy do I love me a Millionaire's Shortbread. Here we go. So that stays. It stays. Then I've got another one. This is what, I mean, yeah, like I said, these are probably all going to stay. Or maybe not. Okay, so The Closet by Theo Vanderbroek. This I asked for Christmas after seeing Andrew Scott recommend it. I think there is a quote from Andrew Scott. Witty and original and incredibly touching. I loved this book. So this is a memoir about Theo, told through clothes. I'm very into clothes and fashion, and sort of, at the moment, I'm taking part in a self-imposed fashion and a sustainable fashion project whereby I'm wearing a different outfit every day throughout this year, but not buying anything new, so I'm able to buy secondhand things if I need to, and I'm just working hard at sort of styling pieces that I already have and making them fit and work in the winter as well as the summer, and just having a lovely time doing that. This I'm wearing today is a dress my mum made me out of some fabric that we bought from a shop many years ago, so yeah, well done my mum. But yeah, so this is very exciting. So fashion has long long-clothed Teo's life. From the blue princess dress he secretly coveted as a child to the 2 big Gucci loafers he wore to impress the first man he desired, Teo's memories have all been marked by fashion. Tailored his formative moments. Delving back into the wardrobes of his past, the closet explores the ups and downs of Teo's adolescence, charting his growth from uncertainty to self-acceptance through the lens of the clothes and accessories that have shaped him. Yeah, so I think this is going to be great. I mean, like I said, I love memoirs told through food. This will be the first memoir I've sort of read told through clothes and fashion, so I'm really, really excited about it. Now, the end we start from, David and I watched the film of this not so long ago with Jodie Comer in it. Benedict Cumberbatch was in it for a small, I mean, Jodie Comer is the main part in it. Benedict Cumberbatch, I think, is a producer on it and also appears slightly. Now, after I read it, I was like, oh, I really want to read that book. And maybe that sort of feeling has dribbled a bit because I really enjoyed the film. I was very troubled by the film. But yeah, so maybe this will return to the shelves because the desperation for me to read it has sort of ebbed a little bit. And then the same with In Defence of the Act by Effie Black, which was a book that was longlisted for the Women's Prize. This was actually kindly sent to me by my All About the Archers co-host pal, who read this. She read all of the, Philippa, who read all of the long-listed books for the Women's Prize. So she finished this and sent it to me. And now, and I popped it up here because it was on the long list. And then when it didn't get shortlisted, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not as keen to read it straight away. So I think these two will return to the shelf. So we'll put these on the return to the shelf. Maybe this as well, because I was excited to read a TJ Klune, having just finished Wolfsong, but now that's ebbed a bit, so maybe this will be returned to the shelf as well. Because I want to keep the real good shit up here, don't I? Next up I've got Factory Girls by Michelle Gallen. This is a book that I've added to my TBR, so I don't film TBR videos at the beginning of each month anymore. I used to, but I just found them sort of, I wasn't really reading the stuff that I was putting on the TBR. Coincidentally, I really love filming TBR videos, but I just wasn't sticking to them, so I'm not really doing that this year anymore. But something I am doing is I'm working my way through all of my books and reading the first lines out of books. So I'm battling sort of like all the green books together and working my way through that, and then whichever one I like the first line of the best gets added to my TBR. And I recently filmed last week, I'll link it down below, the first line battle for the green books. And Factory Girls by Michelle Gallen won. And let me read you the first line because it was really bloody good. Maeve Murray was 18 years old when she first met Andy Strawbridge, but she knew he was a fucker the minute she laid eyes on him. I just thought that was so great. So this is set in 1994. 90s, great. Maeve Murray wants to pass her, all she wants is to pass her exams and make some money so she can escape her shitty wee town in Northern Ireland. With her best friends Caroline and Aoife, Maeve bags herself a job at the local shirt factory. It's set to be the summer of their lives, but first she's got to iron 800 shirts a day to keep her job, dodge the attentions of her slimy English boss, and survive a tit-for-tat paramilitary campaign that's as brutal as her relationship with her mam. As tensions rise between the Catholic and Protestant workforce and Maeve counts down the weeks to results day, she notices things aren't adding up at the factory, and it seems like revealing the truth may just be her ticket out of town. So yeah, I think that sounds great, so I'm very much excited about that. And then Patreon Book Club. Next month, the theme for my Patreon book club, which, and the details are always linked all down below, is children's classics, and we put 3 up for the vote. The one that won was The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett, so I'm very excited because I've never read it. I was obsessed with the BBC adaptation when I was younger. My sister and I had it on video and we used to watch it quite a lot. But it was also up against The Railway Children and Heidi, so there's 3 books, and this got half of the vote. So yeah, so I'm very excited to read this, and I love these editions. These are the sisterhood editions that are just beautiful. So yeah, so that's staying because it is on my TBR. And then the last book up here is a book that I rushed out to buy on the day it came out, went to Waterstones to buy it and was very excited about it, and then just have done nothing with it. And I really love Marion Keyes's books, in the majority. And this is my favourite mistake, the new Marion Keyes book. David made me a bookmark for Valentine's Day, and I've just mounted it because he hadn't mounted it, so I mounted that this week just gone. So, something somebody said to me, I think when I was talking about it on Instagram, was that you really should read the first book. So this, My Favourite Mistake, and Rachel's Holiday, and again Rachel, they're all in a sort of multiverse, if you like, of the Walsh sisters, and this book is about Anna. So I tried to Google this, but I couldn't find it. If someone can tell me what the first book that involves Anna that's going to help me read this book is, please let me know. If not, I'll just dive straight in. But I've got a feeling there's another book that focuses on Anna that would be helpful to read before I read this. And in which case, I'll probably listen to it on audiobook, because there's a lot of the Marian Keyes audiobooks on Libby and on BorrowBox. So there we go, but it stays, it stays. So there we go, those are the books that are going back on there. And then this is all just the old tat underneath. So let's have a look at what we've got here. So, starting off, I've been looking for these. These are my headphones. They'll need charging, but been looking for those, so delighted to have found those. I've got this, which goes on my tripod when I'm doing anything with my phone, so that needs to stay close as well. Then I've got a selection of notebooks. I've got this notebook, which is from Paper Gang, which I use for my All About the Archers podcast. I've got a podcast where I talk about the Archers, the radio play, with 3 other like-minded Archers enthusiasts. And yeah, I mean, it's been going since September last year, so we're fast approaching our year anniversary. And then I've got this notebook, which is my Patreon book club notebook. And we've got last year I started at this side, and this year I've started on this side. And we've got the league table of books that we've read for Patreon Book Club. At the top of that league table is My Cousin Rachel with 4.25. We read that in May. And then at the bottom of the league table is Restless, Dolley, Maunder, which we read in April because it was longlisted for the Women's Prize, and that's scored 2.5. I really did not like that book. So these need to be hung on to too. I will keep those with my other stuff. Then we're getting into sort of crap territory. We've got this very useful, lovely clip that I bought when I was in Norway, that every time my sister comes around she tries to steal it because she loves it so much. Well, she can't have it, but that can go onto my dressing table. Then I've got a series of newspapers, magazines that can be sorted out before we get on to pens and stuff. So first of all, I've got 2 copies of my local newspaper because I am in this local newspaper, and I bought it, one for me to keep and one to give to my mum and dad because they were away when I was in the local newspaper. I will have to do something with those, so they will be kept down there. There is also a bit of propaganda that came in the post about myself. Then I've got the Sunday Times. Now, I bought the Sunday Times because we appeared, our podcast, I keep talking about the old podcast, All About the Archers appeared in the Sunday Times. Where is it? The Sunday Times supplement. Was it in the Culture magazine? Yeah, it was. Our podcast, which was so excited. Let me just have a look. Bloody hell, I can't believe we actually appeared, like, even now. So I will probably cut this out, this little bit. Let's find it so I can read it to you, so you believe me. Here we are, All About the Archers podcast in the Sunday Times magazine. A welcome addition to the canon of unofficial fan podcasts on the series. 4 Ambridge addicts, one of them's me, present a midweek roundup of events and interviews with the cast and production team. The most recent cast chat is with Ryan Kelly, aka Jasmine McCreary. There's also a YouTube version. I edit those YouTube videos, so you can ruin your mind's version of what characters look like. So I will hang on to that because she's just got to, but the rest of the stuff can go into the recycling. There we go. And then I've got a Sainsbury's magazine. This is the August one. God, I'm not even sure I've looked through this. Madeira cake, caramel cornflake brownies, cheesy courgette involtini. Lovely. So I need to hang on to that because I'm not sure I've read that yet, so that can go in there, hang on to. Then we've got, that needs to go into the recycling. Then I've got like these, I love stationery and like listings. So David bought me this, is from Typo. It's got the tasks that you need to do for today, the top 3, and then for next time. I love stuff like that. That can stay with my, that's very helpful when I've got like a big day of stuff that needs doing, particularly like video editing and stuff like that. I went to the podcast show and got a year's VIP membership to Wondery, which I don't even know what that is. So I need to look into that. I mean, scan the QR code. I think it might be, it's obviously must be something to do with podcasts, but I need to look into that. A map of my local area, but I've got one of those. Then here's some pens and stuff that have fallen out of a pencil case. In fact, I'm running out of room in my pencil cases, so I need to sort out the pencil cases as well, but I'll do that off camera. 2 bookmarks, they'll go back on the shelf. And then, I think, so this is a voucher that I got given for Christmas, I think, last year by somebody I work with. But it's not your usual, you need to go online and spend it or something. So I will put it with my other vouchers. I've got some more vouchers there. So there we go, empty. So now I can pop these back in. These are the books that I plan on reading soon, alongside the ones that I use for Friday reading vlogs. So I'll put that on the corner. And then some notepads which can go at the back, along with my pencil cases. And that is looking much better. I mean, from the front it looks the same, but it's much better already. So let me just return some books and put some stuff in recycling, and then we'll move on to the second shelf. Shelf 2. That does look lovely up there, doesn't it? Right, okay, so shelf 2. A lot of these books are books that I'm going to be hauling, and I need to film a book haul from. So I will move them over here so that you cannot see, because incoming book haul looks like it's going to be a big one and all. So there we go. That is going to be a big one. I'm looking forward to filming that. So now we're left with residue, starting with a stroopwafel, which she's going to eat now. Sometimes, occasionally, I get sent, like, pain to eat this, isn't it, while I'm doing this. I get sent sweets or things with proof copies of books. That was lovely. I've never had a mini stroopwafel before. And that's what that was. So yeah. Then I've got another notebook. What did I use this notebook for? Oh, this was work stuff. Very interesting. Hang on to that. I've got a park run magazine, which was very nice to get after I did a park run, but I haven't done one of those in ages. That can go in recycling. Then I've got many copies of Delicious magazine and Sainsbury's magazine, which I do want to hold on to until I've worked out what I'm keeping and what I'm not. I do wish there was a way. I mean, tell me if anyone does this, but like, God, there's loads. Anyone that does this, do you ever go through your magazines and tear out like your favourite recipes and stuff? Something I know I definitely do is hang on to the Christmas ones, because when it gets to Christmas I sort of like to have a little look through. There's going to be so many in here. That's just this shelf. And we've got January, February, March, April, May and May. Need to have a proper look through those. Then I've got some press releases that can go. Press releases that can go. Little post-it notes, very helpful. We'll hang on to those. Pop up here. Then more notebooks. This was my reading journal from last year. I love this reading journal so much. It was from Habitat. My sister-in-law bought it for me. And it's sort of like beautiful embroidered golden stars with this green. And yeah, and I filled it out so beautifully. I shouldn't really, but I do like to hang on to old reading journals, particularly if it's only last year's, just to have a little look through. So sadly, for no reason other than just to look at it, that's staying. Then I've got some more lovely, like, planning your day type things. You'll find there's loads of these. And then when I was subscribed to Paper Gang, I used to get sent quite a lot of things like this, but also stickers and stuff. So hang on to those as well. 12-month calendar, which is very useful, which hasn't been used yet because you can start at any time. So this I could use for next year, and perhaps I will, but I think I've been saying that for a couple of years now, but that all stays as well. Another couple of little notebooks. This one's probably useful to have. This one hasn't even been written. Oh no, it has been. Oh, this is when I was doing a food diary trying to work out what was going on with my tummy. But yeah, that sort of thing's quite helpful to have because it's hardback, so it doesn't get battered around, and it's good to stay in your backpack. Maybe I need to hang on to that because I do need to do a food diary again. Put that there. And then here's another. This is a planner. I got quite a lot of these with Paper Gang. But yeah, have I used it? No, not used it, but there we go. This is the leftovers from a Christmas book that didn't quite make its way back to, I keep my Christmas books in storage, and this is the Little Christmas Library, the Little Library Christmas by Kate Young, which has got lots of different Christmassy recipes from various books. So for example, beetroot gravlax with cucumber pickle and horseradish sauce which was from, I don't know what it was from. Normally it tells you. Maybe it was not always from that. But there we go. But yeah, so I need to, that can stay in here because there's no other Christmas books out at the moment. Then I've got a little bit of ribbon. I mean, what am I going to do with that little bit of ribbon, really? One pencil, which says "We should be friends." And then these also came with a, oh, something else. So a pin badge that came with a book. This is Theron and Jake. And that's obviously a book that I haven't read yet because I don't recognise the names Theron and Jake. And then these candles came with the book Wintering, which I'm very much looking forward to reading when it gets a bit more wintry. So there we go. So I need to put back in there my my books that I'm going to haul, and then we're on to this bottom one, and I've still got to find a home for all my Sainsbury's magazines, all my notebooks and all my other bits. So let's put these back in without you knowing. I mean, you might be able to guess what they are because I've mentioned a few of these recently, especially in vlogs. Can you guess what they are? Oh, oh, oh. There we go. And I think I've got some more arriving this week from the publisher, so that book haul is going to be huge. I'm looking forward to it. So let's go. Oh, and then the little library Christmas I'll just tuck around here so that you can't see it. So let's put some of these bits in the bin, some in recycling, and we'll start on the last shelf. The last section is this mess here. So as I said, this is sort of a bit of a dumping ground. We're going to find probably a lot more magazines in here. I mean, the first thing we're looking at is something that I had out yesterday, and this is last year's Christmas cross stitch. So there's a company called Caterpillar Cross Stitch that every year, although I only discovered it last year, release a Christmas stitch along, whereby in September they give you the first part of a big Christmas embroidery project, cross stitch project that you can join in with. I mean, look at it. And I didn't join in until November, so I was always on the back foot anyway. So I want to because I'm so desperate to do this year's as well. I want to finish this off, but I also want to finish it off when it's a nice Christmassy time. So I still need to finish that off, but that potentially can move to my cross stitching bag, which also needs a sorting out. So I'll put that there. Then I've got a lot of watercolour stuff, which I got out because I was going to take it away. David and I went away for a few days last week to Whitsable. I will link the vlog down below if you'd like to watch it. And I was going to do a bit of art, watercolour stuff while I was there, but forgot to take this all with me. So I think this is the box it arrived in. But if you are a watercolour person and you keep your watercolours somewhere better than an old box, do let me know. But that's where they're staying at the moment. Then, you guessed it, more magazines. So I've got here Delicious magazine from January, Sainsbury's from February, Delicious magazine from March, Sainsbury's from June, and Delicious from June. So they're all going there. The little press release thing. Another planner. This is lovely. It's very like 70s. That can go over there. Bit more of that yellow ribbon, but this is more doable, so that can go with the rest. Oh, it's because it's attached to a whole roll of ribbon. I've got lots of ribbon from when David and I got married, and we wrap all of our presents in it and often get given it back. So we're just reusing ribbon constantly. This is a, oh yeah, this is a pattern that I bought for my auntie's 70th birthday. I mean, it's 70 in floral. And it was lovely. She really enjoyed it, so I will hang on to that because I bought it and printed it off for when I have some other people who are turning 70. Here's a notepad that normally does a lot of our shopping list, so that can go there. This is a reading challenge of which I haven't yet finished. I treated myself to this a couple of years ago. It was in one of my Christmas gift guides. I really think, still stand by it. I think it's a great idea. The Ultimate Reading Challenge, 25 rewards. I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more challenges. So this needs to be out a bit more. So I'm realising what I'm doing. So find a home for that as well. And then I was correct. I hang on to my Christmas magazines. Good Housekeeping from December 2023. Sainsbury's magazine from December 2023. Prima magazine from December 2023, and Sainsbury's from November because they're Christmassy. And then here's another little notepad, which is helpful. Right, oh, and a bit more ribbon. That can go back with the ribbon. Right, okay, so I think what I'm going to do, I think the best thing to do is put all of my magazines in here for looking at. And now I know where they all are. Then, these two are going to go in the kitchen. That's for rubbish in. My notebooks could maybe go behind those. Although I have got space on the shelf up there. And then maybe I will put my watercolour stuff back on there. And then I think we're done. So we did do it. This doesn't look very neat up here, does it? Maybe I'll stuff a pencil case there to keep that a bit neater. That's a bit neater. But I did it! That's exciting, isn't it? So thank you very much for joining me on this Sunday morning to help me sort out my reading trolley. I'm very pleased with how it's gone. I've got a few bits to put away now, but otherwise it's gone without a hitch. All of these exciting hauling books will be going up in a book haul anytime soon, really. And I'll see you all again for another Richard video. Goodbye!